working as a registered nurse at Tampa General Hospital. Fidel is a GK Next Gen Tampa Bay Area Chairman, and he is an honor student, pre-med at the University of South Florida. Please give a round of applause to the dedicated youth of GK, Ms. Adrian Villanueva and Mr. Fidel Guevara. Next, we have Ms. Allison Nepomuceno, escorted by Carol Filipinski. Allison is a GK Next Program Director and GK USA Ambassador and recently graduated from the University of Central Florida. Carol recently graduated with a bachelor's in science in applied physiology and kinesiology from the University of Florida. Let's give another round of applause for the dedicated youth of GK, Ms. Allison Nepomuceno and Mr. Carlos Jigelski. Next, we have the lovely couple, Mr. and Mrs. Anthony and Erica G. Utarano. Erica is an ambassador partner for GK Tampa Bay, a GK core group member, and a GK Next Gen leader. She also co-founded the Miss Phil in Florida beauty pageant. Her husband, Anthony, is also a GK core group member of Tampa Bay and the account director for the National Billboard Company of Outfront Media. Both are proud of their involvement in the Filipino community and will continue to support this amazing cause. Biggest thanks for the dedication from the couple, Mr. and Mrs. Anthony and Erica Utarano. Now we have Mrs. Marilyn Navarro, escorted by Mr. Arnel Artus. Marilyn, fondly known as Nene, is the Executive Vice President of Ambisaya of Florida, and she is currently an officer of the Santo Niño Shrine, USA, and member of Couples for Christ Ministry. She and her late husband have built their Gawain Divine Mercy Navarro Bilbao Village in Toledo City, Cebu. Mr. Arnel Artus is a GK core group member and an art instructor at the Philippine Cultural Foundation. He is an active member / officer of Santo Niño Shrine, and he is currently the new president of Ambisaya of Florida Incorporated. Again, we present and thank Mrs. Marilyn Navarro and Mr. Arnel Artus. Next, we have the lovely Mrs. Lori Macalala, escorted by Tristan Garbalego Smith. Lori is a kind supporter of GK Tampa Bay and an esteemed contributor to the Philippine Cultural Foundation. Tristan is a loyal supporter of GK Tampa Bay and a talented dancer for the Philippine Performing Arts Company, known as PPAC, for the past 7 years. Thank you for your support for GK, Mrs. Lori Macalala and Mr. Tristan Garbalego Smith. Next, we have the beautiful Mrs. Nair Santos, escorted by Mr. Robert Santos. Nair is a gracious supporter of GK Tampa Bay and a highly respected contributor to the Philippine Cultural Foundation for many years. Robert is a devoted Gawain supporter and a proud member of the Philippine Performing Arts Company for the past 6 years. Much gratitude for the dedicated efforts for Gawain, Mrs. Nair Santos and Mr. Robert Santos. Now we have the passionate couple, Mr. and Mrs. Joey and Tonda Galvez. Joey and Tonda are happily married with 5 children. Tonda is a devout God supporter and owner of Art of Life Resale, which is an online eBay store. Joey is a dedicated member of the GK Tampa Bay core team and a full-time real estate investor. Thank you for your unending support for Gawain, Mr. and Mrs. Joey and Tonda Galvez. Now we have the other supportive couple, Mr. and Mrs. John and Thelma Manangad. John and Thelma are both highly active GK advocates. Thelma has been in the home care business for several years, and John is a Master Sergeant of the U.S. Air Force retired. They are both members of Couples for Christ and Unfelt Officers of Santo Niño Shrine, USA, and Ambisaya of Florida. Your continuous support is much appreciated, Mr. and Mrs. John and Thelma Manangad. Next, we have the talented Mrs. Lisa Vignette, escorted by Mr. Rico Cordon. Lisa is a passionate also a former PPAC dancer. Rico is an admired PPA supporter and a current longtime PPAC dancer. He is a single father of 2 awesome boys and a clay producer at Geico. Thank you for always providing your skills, Mrs. Lisa McLean and Mr. Rico Cardone.
Here we have the ever-faithful Mr. and Mrs. Ed and Susan Bilbao. Both are blessed to be GK heroes and have built their own California Divine Mercy Navarro Bilbao Village in Toledo City, Cebu, Philippines. They are co-founders of Santa Nina Shrine USA, co-founders of Messiah of Florida, and unit leaders of Couples for Christ International Ministry. They also are overall coordinators of the Filipino ministry in the Diocese of St. Petersburg. Last but not least, both of them are permanent directors of PCFI. Thank you for your undying and tireless efforts, Mr. and Mrs. Ed and Susan Bilbao. Here we have now the wonderful Mr. and Mrs. June and Eva Domontay. Eva is the California Tampa Bay Secretary and a retired special educator. June is the Assistant Director of California Tampa Bay and Couples for Christ, Tampa's Grand Pop Coordinator. He is a retired software engineer. Thank you for all that you do, Mr. and Mrs. June and Eva Domontay. Last but not least of the performing couples, we have the ever loyal Mr. and Mrs. Rocky and Emma Moreno. Emma is the energetic GK Hope Hall 2023 chairman. Rocky is the current GK Tampa Bay overall coordinator and past PCFI chairman. My deepest gratitude to my mom and dad for their strongest dedication, Mr. and Mrs. Rocky and Emma Moreno. Now introducing more prominent figures, Doctors Jose and Maria Rafinha. Okay, they're standing there at the left. Doctors Jose and Maria Rafinha donated the Rafinha Reyes Legacy Village in Ormo, Leyte, Philippines. Dr. Jose has been the GK chairman for the last 10 years. A spirited thank you for all that you both contributed, Drs. Jose and Maria Rafinha. Next up is Dr. Leo and Mrs. Susan Yazon. May you please stand for Dr. Leo and Susan Yazon are dedicated GK advocates and wholehearted supporters in all fundraising events for GK. Sincerest thank you for your support, Dr. Leo and Mrs. Susan Yazon. Presenting next, we have Mr. and Mrs. Richard and Julie Fraccio. Richard and Julie are loyal GK advocates and strong supporters in all GK events. They're outside, we'll introduce them. GK advocate and a highly faithful supporter in all GK events. To your relentless efforts, Mr. Emil Cruz. Where would we be without Mr. GK core group and the current chairman of the board for the Philippine Cultural Foundation of Tampa Bay? Our highest and deepest recognition for your leadership, Mr. Arnel Duplessis. But last of all, but certainly not least, Mr. Joey O'Neill. Joey is an unparalleled GK advocate and was able to build the Monte Paraíso Village in Trinity Marquez, Cavite, together with co-members of the world-renowned Institute of the Philippines. Our highest acknowledgement for your continuous hard work here in Tampa and abroad in our homeland, Mr. Joey Omiona. Again, thank you all for your contribution of time, talent, and treasure to Bawat Kalinga for the mission of serving the poor, homeless, and needy in the Philippines. And thank you all who have come to this event and who have also contributed your time and treasure for the underprivileged in the Philippines. Your efforts are noted and are uplifting those who are in need. I hope you all have a joyous and blessed night and drive home safe.
Thank you so much, April and Christina. A round of applause, please, to Christina and April.